So howdy everyone, welcome to the Quick Start Basics class tonight. We are covering tonight, last day of June. Hope it was a good end of the month for everybody and that you've reached your goals or that you did your very, very best. That's what I wish for you. We won't look at the scoreboard, but wish for you that you did your best, like John Wooden would say. I am Beth McCarty, coach for network marketers, shrink of MLM. And Jeffrey David Gamble is here of My Leadership Network, and we partner to bring you this generic training, Quick Start Basics, 10 Core Commitments for Network Marketers every Sunday right here at 9 p.m. And it's part of our generic school for network marketers, the MLM Millionaire Club. Our purpose is to help people grow, to educate, equip, and empower entrepreneurs and create independent servant leaders and raise the bar in this profession. We're super excited for us all to be together tonight. Our goal is to equip and empower and entertain and educate you on the basics of building your business. The purpose of this school is to teach you how to build a strong and profitable business and using the 10 core commitments. And before we get started, I want to let you know what's coming up. Might want to grab a paper and pen. Monday through Friday is our MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show with the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. So we have just finished a year anniversary of that show, and really I believe this month is also a year anniversary of the school. So happy birthday to all of us. Happy 1 year. It's been incredible working with you all and gathering your stories and the results that you each get and tell us about. And we're so happy for your successes and your results of using all these methods. So congratulations to you and all of us. We're doing good things together. So as a result of it being a year anniversary at the MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show, we have celebrated with Think and Grow Rich all of June. So if you haven't caught those replays, you can catch those on the MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show Facebook group. All the past replays for June are there, and there's about 15 chapters in that book, and so we cover those. So tomorrow we start with the number 1 law. Again, it's John Maxwell's 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, and that is the law of the lid. And that means that a leader can only lead his team to the, his ceiling or his lid is the ability that to where he's developed himself. So y'all being in that class and being in this class, and for those who are in the MLM, the Wednesday night class, good job. You're developing yourself beautifully and raising your lid. As you know, Wednesday night is at MLM Leadership University, and that's just for a small select group of people who have enrolled in that class. Remember that if you want to be in that too, you can, and that you get a discount for being in the Quick Start Basics class. So you can message me or find the link in the Facebook group for that. We're right now covering this book, the 101 Collection by John Maxwell, and this month we are on teamwork. Like, what does it mean to be a team player? How do I go about building a winning team? It's perfect for network marketing. How do I create positive energy on the team? And how can I harness the team's creativity? So very powerful information. How can we be in network marketing and not use these principles? So this is really the advanced stuff in network marketing. If you really, really want to be a leader and really produce and make a good income, then this leadership and what we're covering in that Wednesday night class is perfect. And it helps the students who are in that class, it helps them to use this class and apply it to their team. So it's beautiful, art and science of leading and being a network marketer. So I love to share more. I'd love to have more of you in the class, get more benefit, get more results than you already are. So love to 10x your businesses, invite you to that class. Every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, Jeff and I share a lesson for network marketing. And this coming Tuesday is why you don't need a video. So many people still maybe revert to that as a habit, or they don't even know that there's an alternative to that, because now we're so used to just sending the link. Okay, you want to know more about here? Let somebody else do the talking, and that's what we've been taught for a long time. Let somebody else do the talking. You know, you don't talk. Let the video do it. Make sure you don't mess up or whatever. But we're finding that that doesn't work anymore because people are not watching the videos like they used to years ago. So we give an alternative to that and encouragement for people to use a better way. That's what we're teaching Tuesday. And something really special is coming up in a week. Our open house is almost here. It's going to be next Sunday, a week from today, at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. It's just going to be 1 hour. And we're going to teach people how to always get a yes when prospecting. You guys know that, but we're going to go deeper into it then. And it's also an opportunity to bring your team or your friends. Now, Becky, who's on the call now, and Becky said, I just invited 3 more people. So total, she's invited 21 people to that open house. And Becky's done that before. She seems to lead the pack with reaching out to the most people and promoting what we're doing very well. So we're going to actually check and see, well, how many people actually made it on to register, and get back and let her know which of her friends and family and people actually registered to get onto that event. But when you share it like that, I can't think of a better way to grow my team. If I was a network marketer, I definitely would want my team, every one of them, to be in the school if possible. And some of you have been referring, Dr. Chris and other people have been referring their team here, and how fun is that? Maybe we can hear later from you how that's been going for you, or how they like it, or the difference in their business before and after they got in school. If you have that, any stats or any info or overview of that, Dr. Chris, and you can stay on to the end. We'd love to hear that. I would love to hear that personally. So when people that you let know about the open house on Sunday, when they register for that, when they get their free ticket, actually, then it enters them into a drawing for a free book giveaway. We're giving away a bunch of free personal growth books, going to mail them out. That includes John Maxwell and other ones. And you have to be present to win a book. However, if some people know they can't be present at 4 p.m., and what will happen is they'll still get the replay. If they register then, they can still get this valuable information. Now, when you think of it, you guys are lucky. I think you guys are fortunate to have this information. I feel lucky to have met Jeff, to have listened one night to what he had, that he could actually tell me, and I could hear what he was doing. They took time to listen and say, oh my gosh, we got to teach this here in the school. So I'm fortunate for all this, and I'm fortunate to be able to share it with you. And out of all the network marketers in the world, you guys are just this tiny small percent that knows this method, which I think is the best one in the whole world. So what we're trying to do is let other people know about it too. I'd like every single network marketer in the world to know about this so they can choose to use it if they want to or not. That's my goal. I would like every network marketer in the world at that open house on Sunday. So if you can help a little, and you know people who would like to come on, I'd love if you invite them. Okay, and the link to that is in the Facebook group. You'll see let's see. I'll post the link again, and a little video that I made today. Actually, I'll post that in the group too, to where you could share the video with them. It's just a 6-minute video that helps, or you could share the Facebook event link that has a link where they can get the free ticket. So those are fun things happening, and we will, just to mention again the 10 core commitments themselves. And we're doing a recap tonight of the first 5. But the 10 core commitments themselves is getting started right, be here a year from now, personal development, market daily, present daily, attend a weekly presentation, attend a weekly core training, which you're doing right now, and attend a monthly regional, attend all company conventions, and have a monthly massive action plan. So we're going to go over the first 5 tonight, but we're going to ask you guys some questions too. Like, what have you liked best so far? What are your goals with this class and with your business, and what can we do better? So we would love to hear these things. as well. If this comes to mind, you make a note so that when we turn the recording off, that we can hear from you too. This is more of an interactive one. We have a chance to do that on the recap. So why the basics? Because the 10 core commitments, because they have been proven for decades to produce top earners. So we're going back to these basics and repeat it again. Repetition is the mother of success, that Tony Robbins says. Many people think, well, I know it all. When you ask them, well, what are the 10 core basics and what do they each mean, they might, be stumbling around or searching for answers with that. But I'd love y'all to attend this until you could all teach it to your team, or perhaps even teach it on here. Maybe we'll even see if anybody can join in teaching tonight. We'll see what the agenda lets us do. Remember to keep track of the ones that you attend, including the replays, and let us know when you have completed all 10 of your next level. There's 10 levels in all. There's 10 certificates in all that we give out. So Pasha just got her 3rd, I believe, and David got his 2nd. Even though he might have attended more, he might be actually partway through his 3rd. But keep track of these, because it's good to keep track. This will train you to track things that you do, and train you to value and to listen carefully to each one, and to learn the new things that you get each time it comes around. So let me turn this over to Jeff right now, and we will begin our recap.
All right, guys, so I've been building like crazy for the last about 90 days, and maybe what is best is exactly kind of what Bess was talking about, is what questions do you guys have? I mean, we can go over the same stuff again, for sure, and let you know, but what are you struggling with to do? Most of the time, it has to do with it's not knowing what to do, it's just physically not doing enough of it. Whether that be enough contacts, most of the time, it's like if you can get past the initial contact and get in front of the person, you have no problem telling people what's going on. Then once you get to the point where you're telling enough people what's going on, then it never fails. I mean, people are like, well, I can't close them out. I'm getting, the excuses, well, that's nice, that's convenient, that's cool, it's not my cup of tea, I don't like sales, I'm not interested in those kind of things, I'm not able to, I don't know enough people, on and on and on. And that breaking that, the first threshold is 99.9% of the people do not talk to enough people to actually get the presentation in front of people. If you're doing enough, and you're getting the presentation in front of people, then you feel like if you present to 5 people that you're supposed to recruit 10. It's really fun. I don't know why that, that works. It's like, well, I'm going to talk to 5 and I expect 10. Somehow there's this weird multiplication growth that's supposed to happen without any of the work. And, a lot of people say it is a numbers game, and yeah, a little bit, it is a numbers game, but at the same time, it's also, it's a game of persuasion, it's a game of influence, it's a game of leadership, being able to teach people what direction you're going in. But I'd be really interested to hear from, people, what is your overall, what is stopping you from, what do you think stopping you from doing this? Is it just motivation? Because, there's ways to fix that. You can set yourself up, electric shocks, and, you can hire somebody if you need, just to come over. I mean, Craigslist, you can hire somebody to come over and beat you up every morning. I mean, I've looked at it. People are willing to pay for anything, and people are willing to do just about any job. I had a good friend in the business. He's like, you know why you need to make more money? He goes, you need to make enough money where you can pay $500 a month to somebody just to call you and keep you excited. He's like, if that's what you need, you just need more money. The first $500 you make, you better just spend it on somebody who can call you and make you excited every single morning. And there are tricks to that. Tony Robbins talks about getting yourself inside of a peak state to be able to accomplish what you need to. And there is a trick to getting into a peak state. And if you're in a peak state, you're able to get more done. I thought it was very, very interesting I was listening to one of the top sales trainers in the world, and he was talking about what he did every morning for his sales force. And he goes, you know what we never talked about? We never talked about overcoming objections. Never. He goes, we never talked about overcoming objections. He goes, what we realized is if we ran the script perfectly every single time and we talked to enough people, there'll be certain people who just want to get in. But what they would do is they would kind of start out by chanting in a way. It wasn't necessarily a chant. It was 1, 2, 3, yes. He goes, what I want you to do is just say yes. And then he got louder and louder and louder and louder. And he basically put everybody in a peak state by basically getting people to say yes, because that's what you want. You want people to say, hey, are you ready to get started? Yes. You know, are you ready to join? Yes. Are you ready to move to the next level? Yes. Are you ready to succeed? Yes. And there is a way to ask certain questions along the way inside of a presentation to keep people going. You know, people are like, well, do I have to order the product? You know, do I have to keep ordering the product? And you say, yeah, as long as you plan on, you know, staying alive. You know, you plan on staying alive, right? Well, yeah, well, it'd probably be a good idea. You have to stay alive physically, but you also have to stay alive in the business. To stay alive in the business, what do you need? You need to be active. And, you know, you can either have 2 people out there selling it or buying it as customers, or you can buy it yourself. In some systems, you can have enough customers on the books where you don't have to personally buy it, but I can tell you I don't know of a single successful person in the industry that isn't buying their own product. You know, there's nobody that I know of that's succeeding that doesn't own the product that they're marketing and doesn't have a testimonial themselves and doesn't have a story themselves. The reality is most of the time when people are like, well, I just can't market this, it's because you're not buying it and not using it and you don't have your own testimonial that's strong enough to overcome when somebody's like, I don't know if I'd really need it. Well, let me tell you why a couple people are buying it. And then it becomes easier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the lines and find out what are people struggling with. Bess, what do you got a question with?
Well, I could share a personal growth moment, if you like. I prepared a little bit to talk about total empowerment. I mean, the empowerment that comes with total responsibility. Maybe as I talk, people could take some notes and see where they're missing things and make a note and then share that. Or do you just want to go right into?
Well, I mean, it's really up to the people. I mean, they're the ones who are here. You know, what do they need?
Okay.
Do you want to open it up and ask and kind of go from there?
Sure. So you'll have to unmute people, but what we want to ask, and we'll unmute everybody, and we'll ask, would you like to ask burning questions? We'd like to hear from you what you need, what's missing for you, what questions that you have, where are you stuck in your business, or where are you slow in your business that you wish for a better, for some answers or some solutions, because everybody's aiming for their next level, or else we'd already be there, right? So everybody's working for their next level. Everybody's up against some challenges. Every single person on this call, we know. And so my question is, would you like to dive into that now, or would you like to hear a little personal growth stuff first, or you know, what's best for you? And y'all are unmuted.
I like a little bit of Q&A and motivation, personal development stuff. That's me.
You like a little motivation before we get into the questions?
Well, no, just...
I've got one for you.
Okay.
We're going into...
Steve has a question.
Oh, okay. Well, if it says anything, I get a lot of responses of, I've already got something like this or similar, or the common not interested, which that's pretty much anybody, a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
But lately I've been getting, like I said, I've got something like this already.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course I can't give a name like a company or something, but, so similar they don't want to even look at what you got to offer because they got something. When you tell them a brief description or even a video or something, tell you what you got to offer so you can say more, kind of like throwing a few breadcrumbs out so they can want to get some more information. And they're like, oh, I've already got something like it. You run into that sometimes.
Okay, so is that what's the answer that you get when you ask them about the favor script? Remember, it's not about them. You're just saying, hey, will you listen? Can I share with you what I do in case you run across the right person? You refer to me. So they're not thinking of themselves. They don't give you any objections because all they have to say is yes, I'll hear you for a few minutes, for 10 minutes, or no, I won't.
Yeah, that's the same response in like I took someone out, treated them to dinner and wanted them to do me a favor, which they agreed. Show them what I've got to offer, and that's the response I get.
Okay, then your 10-minute presentation needs to contain why your product is different, why it's unique than any other one out there. So there's 5 parts to the 10-minute presentation, and the third part, the company, need, product. So when it comes to the product or the need and the product, you need to share. Your people are telling you that they're not hearing why this is different, why this is unique or different than anything else out there. So that needs to be in there, or else you're just one of the many, So, but I know that there's something unique. I don't even know which company you're in, but every company has something unique about it, and you can throw in some stories of this has helped this or that, and for me or someone, about the product. So listen to what the people are saying and then build that into your 10-minute presentation with your company's compliant information. Does that help?
Well, I'll know how much it helps when I come across a situation again, I guess. But I think it helps, and to know, when they say they've got something similar, at least wonder if they know what company they've got. And if they don't know what company, they should be making up an excuse, just to take it on along. Sometimes I think they're just saying it just to be saying it.
But remember, this is not about them.
I would totally agree with you, Steve. That is probably what's happening is it does sound like an excuse, because if you ask for a favor, they must feel that you are trying to sell it to them to be able to give you that excuse. Psychologically, that would be the only reason they would say that, is they feel like you're trying to sell it to them. And I was like, oh, okay, great. Well, this wasn't for you. I'm glad you have something that already does this. But I just have a question for you. If you refer yours out, what does it pay you?
Right.
Because I don't care what product it is, see, there's a comp plan attached to it where you can refer people out to it and you get paid. Oh, no, I don't get paid. Oh, okay, so tell me again how it's the same. I mean, I'm not here to argue with people. When you start the back and forth objection, basically what most people do is, rather than being persuasive, you get into arguments. And there's no purpose in the argument, because in an argument, nobody wins, especially in sales. I was taught a long time ago, if you kick their dog, you lose. And dog, cat, couch, if you kick anything in their house, you lose. So it's pointless to have an argument. Your goal is not to get people to say yes necessarily, as much as how many people have you gotten through the product or the company, the need, the product, the compensation, the timing. How many people have you told the whole program to?
Numbers game.
Okay, so the issue becomes here is not what you're hearing back. The issue becomes is we just haven't talked to enough people. So the real question is how do you get in front of more people faster? Then you can look at who are you getting in front of. If you're getting in front of everybody around you that already, and we've had this conversation because obviously we've talked outside of this class, for the area you live in, the population is not really big, right?
Right.
So you'd probably agree, if you were talking to people that were in a larger population that everything is more expensive, you're going to talk to a completely different group of people. I think you'd do better off of a lead list of some kind where there is no direct connection. The only reason they're listening is because they're looking. Does that make sense?
Yes, on the lead connection.
Because if you had 100 or 1,000 or 10,000 leads that were looking for something, and every single day you were like, hey, I'm just connecting with you, finding out, are you still looking? Part-time, full-time, are you still looking for something? My office passed me your information, are you still looking for something? So that way when somebody says, yes, I'm looking, now when you present to them, you say, hey, look, it's still, I mean, I still use the Faber. We're still using the Faber even with leads. You know, once we get done, they're like, yeah, this really isn't a good fit for me. No problem. Well, if you happen to run across anybody or know anybody that this would be a good fit for, I would love to be able to, you know, take the referral. You have my number, pass them along. And most people are like, yeah, absolutely, sure. So the issue becomes is, you know, tracking what people say back is not as important as tracking how many people we've talked to. And until you pass 15, I mean, I'll be honest with everybody here, until you pass about 15 people, maybe even closer to 20 people in a month, you're not going to like to hear this, but you're not going to get a great result. I mean, it's terrible, isn't it? I mean, it's terrible to hear that. You're like, well, shit, I thought I was going to be able to talk to 3 or 4 people and get 7. And there is nowhere on the planet, and there is nobody with any skill that I know of that can talk to 4 or 5 people and get 4 or 5 people a month. It just doesn't work like that. So, I mean, the real test is how many people have we really gone through the whole program with. And then I break it down from there. Like the guy, you know, when I do coaching, my coaching isn't how you feel. My coaching isn't what you think. My coaching is, well, the numbers. What got done? If nothing got done, let's back it up process by process and start with, where are the people coming from? The people we're going to go talk to, where are they coming from? Are they coming from a list of people in a notebook, out of your phone? Are we hunting people on Facebook? And guys, hunting people on Facebook, that's tough. That's real tough. Not that it doesn't work, but it's tough. To attract people from Facebook, you have to, you know, recently I've been watching 3 people in particular who are all millionaires, and most of their business was built on Facebook. And here's the commonality between all 3 of them. Their energy level is about twice what mine is. Twice what mine is. Their clarity is about twice what mine is. And their number of live presentations is at least twice as many as I'm doing. So think about that when you're comparing what's working. You just, you know, when it comes to attraction business, you know, attracting people. So I found 1 of 2 things. You're either going to pay an enormous amount of money to try to get some system to find you the right people to talk to, or you're going to pay it in hard work. The problem is most of the time inside of direct sales, the hard work part is never described, ever. Has anybody on here ever seen the Insanity commercial, the commercial for Insanity, the workout program, where people lose like 600 pounds in like 6 days? You know what I'm talking about? I mean, I think it's really interesting that there's like 62 warnings throughout the entire program, right? It starts out by saying, hey, this is not for everybody. In fact, most people can't do it. In fact, you're probably going to break, you know, your knees, your ankles, the kitchen table, I mean, your bed, this and I mean, they're harsh. They're like, guys, this is not for everybody. This is tough. Throughout the whole program. But the results are so amazing. And that's the true meaning. if you, watch this, if you have a low-key personality, you have to talk to 3 times as many people. Especially nowadays. Especially with what I see out there in internet land. When you catch somebody, if you have a low-key personality, an S-type personality, a C-type personality, if you're more methodical, if you're more feeling-based, if you're more caring, you have to talk to 3 times as many people. Do you know why? Because it's so hard to get people's attention now. Like, I've been working for the last 2 days to help a couple people promote. My #1 problem is not that I don't know enough people. Like, I've been going through, where's my other notebook? I've been actually pulling a names list together. This is the first names list. This is the first names list that I've built since I was 17. Because every other time that I've built a business, I've just gone off of the next person that I was talking to or friends that I see online, because I learned a skill a long time ago that I would like a lot of you to adopt. If you want to build big inside of network marketing, this one skill will help you more than ever. I check in with people constantly and just ask, how are you doing? I know that sounds dumb, but I do it through text message, I do it through email, I do it through LinkedIn, I do it through Facebook. And I can show you, I can scroll through my text messages. I think one of the text message things said I had 30,000 some text messages. I mean, it was some number that was like, it was so astronomical that the guy at Sprint, when I was leaving Sprint to go to another network, he's like, you've sent so many, I think I had sent close to 10,000 text messages in a month. Figure out what that is a day. And he's like, you're almost at like junior high cheerleader status text message. Like, this is astronomical. He's like, what the hell do you do? And I'm like, I'm in direct sales. He's like, what does that mean? I'm in sales. He's like, oh, okay. I'm like, I recruit for a living. He's like, oh, that's the reason you talk to so many people. I'm constantly reaching out and saying hi and how are you? And I'm doing that, watch this, I'm doing that to the gamut of people. Everybody I run into. So I've recently started talking to people who, quote-unquote, are famous in their area or line of work. You know, UFC fighters that have been at the top. I've talked to professional bodybuilders that are at the top of the game. I've talked to motivators that are at the top of the game. I have a couple friends in direct sales and network marketers that are $1 million earners. I'm constantly, hey, how are you? If I see something interesting that's kind of cool to me, that they've done, I'm like, oh my gosh, I saw that you were just in Thailand. That's so cool. How was it? I happened to see a couple people on Network Marketing Pro that spoke on stage. If I really like what they said, and I really paid attention to what they said, and it really hit me, I take the notes of the main things I learned, and I go right to their page, and I said, hey, I just want to thank you so much. Not only did you hit, but when you said this, that was super effective. Like, it was one of the best layout trainings I've ever heard. That helps them convey their message to other people. Like, that's what people are getting. Not, hey, you did a good job. Well, I spoke for 2 hours. What part was good? And I'm starting to get responses back from more and more people. But I'm constantly, how are you? What's going on? I mean, if I could, I'd say raise your hand to everybody, but obviously not everybody's on video, but you know that I do this. Like, I've reached out to Dave here, I've reached out to Jim, the people that I see online, right, Jim? I mean, and this is, you know, this has been going on for a while. And you can go back, and that's why Beth and I, right, we're on, how long have we, it's been 5 years? Is that right, Bess?
6.
6. And we can go back to the exact day, and from the time we first connected until the time we started working together, it wasn't like we only said hi twice. I mean, it was like a build-up to more often. And my question is how often are you guys keeping in touch with people?
I just like to say that was due to Jeff. You know, he checked back, how are you doing, and all that. And if you do check back with somebody with specifics about what they spoke about, that's like, you will really stand out, because it's like 1% of people. You could look like on Eric Worre's post or something like that, you know, where he used to make a video and people would comment underneath it. And everybody goes, oh, that was wonderful, that was so good, that was so right on. And there's just all these accolades. Oh, that was great, that was good, right on, I agree, or whatever. And nobody refers to anything specific or is thoughtful about it. So I used to go in and say, well, I really like when you said that, or my favorite part was this, or that. Because then you know it's specific about what you like, and the person knows that you really did hear it. And I learned that a long time ago too, Jeff. Somebody said, well, they came up to the speaker and they said, oh, you were great. And he goes, well, thank you, but what specifically touched you? You know, because just great, that doesn't help the speaker. That doesn't tell them much. So not many people do take the time to be specific. So back to you, Jeff. Thanks for my interjection here.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's, you know, that's part of it, is how often you keep it in touch. And if you're not keeping in touch with people, that's something to start. I mean, a lot of people are like, go out and contact 30 people a day. Start out by just connecting with 30 people a day, not necessarily contacting them, but it could start out with something like, hey, I really like the post, I really like the video. Here's just kind of an FYI. Connect with people as high as possible that have influence that are showing. So I'm just going to give you for instance, somebody who just writes something is one thing. Somebody who posts a picture about something they're doing is actually kind of more into it. But somebody who does a video, think about this. Who do you want on your team? Do you want the person that wrote, hey, this was a great meal? Do you want the person who took a picture of the meal and said, hey, this was a great meal? Or do you want the person on your team that did a video and is like, oh my gosh, this place is amazing, this place, oh my, this video, you know, this sandwich, this meat, this salad, whatever, and they can articulate and talk about it live in front of everybody and have no background? Wouldn't you all agree that I want the person that does the video? That's who I want on my team. Why? Because they're going to promote anything that they come across that they like. They're going to promote it on video, and they're going to have the personality to do it. Those are the people that you want to reach out to online and build a relationship with. The problem is tell me one course in school that teaches you how to build relationships. There's not a course online, or I'm sorry, online. There's not a course 0 through 18, you know, in school. There's not one course that they teach you on how to spot an opportunity. There's not one course in school teaching you how to be financially independent. There's not one, think about it. There's not one class on getting along with everybody else. Not one. There's rules of what you're not supposed to do, but there's no class on influence. There's no class on motivation. There's no class on leadership. 0 through 18. Now, what I found is even when you go into, you know, college, and I've sat in graduate classes, even though I wasn't smart enough to probably get in, my ex-wife was doing her master's degree, and I drove her there, and I started sitting in the back of the class, and just because I don't know how to keep my mouth shut, I started answering questions, and I never forget, one of the professors was like, he asked this specific question. We were in a business class analyzing. He's like, you know, we're talking about Perkins and, you know, how they cut up. And I was like, well, it's real simple. You just do this and cut up the pieces of pie. And he's like, that's exactly what we did. He's like, what's your name? And he looked. I know he was looking at attendance. And I'm like, oh, I'm just here with my ex. Somebody said I could sit in class one time when you were out, so I just have sat here every day. So I sat through half of her business analyst class. They're not teaching this there. I know, because I was sitting in class. A couple of my friends are attorneys. I sat inside of their classes when they took, you know, contract law, and they took corporate law, and they took, you know, stuff in writing. This was never mentioned. I have 2 friends that are physicians that have been through medical school. It was never taught there either. The one thing that was kind of taught is just to be able to analyze people. This was actually really important. There was a class, one of the first days of clinical. The professor walked in, and he had this he had this cup there, and he says, what I want you to know is this cup is full of urine. And everyone's like, okay, that's weird. And he goes, so, you know, and he kind of described all this stuff, and he walked around, he was talking about observation and meeting with clients, and he's like, okay, so here's what's going to happen. He goes, I'm going to put my finger in it, and I want you to put it in your mouth. And he goes, and everybody here is going to do this. So he literally walks around the class, and every single person, like, puts their finger in it, and it's like, oh, my God, you know, this is, you know, salty, ugh, you know, what the, and he goes, and he comes back around after everybody's done it, and everybody has this weird, you know, a couple people, like, got up, got sick. They were like, I'm leaving class. A couple people got up, and they're leaving, and they weren't even going to participate. They're like, I'm not doing it. And at the very end, he says, so how many people realized that when I held up the cup, I put this finger in the cup, and I put this finger in my mouth? He goes, the most important lesson I can possibly teach you is observation. You have to be completely aware of what's going on. And the number one problem with network marketers is we're so busy thinking about what we're doing, we're not thinking about the other person, we're not observant, we're not watching the other person, we're sure as hell not listening. Observe what's going on. Where are people at? You know, I watched, you know, the very last day we were at the convention. We were at a convention in Las Vegas just recently. The very last day, the number one guy that's running everything, I walked up, I said, thanks for everything. And he kind of just shakes his head, and I realized he's normally a talkative guy. He doesn't say anything at all. And I was like, and finally he's like, I'm sorry, my voice. I was like, oh, okay, you lost your voice. I said, was that from speaking all weekend? Or, you know, he's like, we were out last night, you know, club, I can barely speak. I said, you know what, I've got some ginger, turmeric, blah, 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 blah. I still have a couple shots in my room if you want one. It's 100% organic. Not everybody's into that. He's like, no, that would be great. I also was able to give one to another guy that we worked with the night before. He was having the same problem because I said, he's like, yeah, I always get this. I said, well, you get this when you travel because we're sleeping in an air-conditioned room, and the air condition is drying everything out, and as it dries out your nasal passage and this, that, and the other thing, what happens is then it'll crack, and that's what causes the, you know, the inflammation and the swelling and the reason you can't. And he kind of looks at me weird. I'm like, oh, my background is in this. He's like, oh, okay. I said, I can go get one. Yeah, sure. Went, got one, pulled it out. And I said, make sure when you take this that you've got something to chase it with because it's strong. If you're, he's like, yeah, I've taken it before. That's the kind of stuff about being observant. There were 3 other people that walked up, got their picture, never asked him a word, never figured out, you know, the reason he wasn't saying anything and talking. But, like, those are the kind of things that just people, it doesn't matter who it is, you're just completely non-observant and missing what's going on. Timing. Asking the right questions, but also asking enough. You know, I was super nervous to contact. I was able to, you know, get my picture with the middleweight champion of the world, UFC fighter, because I heard his accent while we were sitting eating at this one restaurant we ate at pretty much every day we were there. And he was conversing with the guy, and I watched he was eating, so I was like, and I'm thinking in my mind, if I walk up to him right now and I interrupt him, that's kind of rude, right? But I'm sure that's how most people do it. They're going to interrupt him while he's eating. He's not finished. He's having a conversation with somebody. So I waited until he was done. I waited until he paid his bill. I waited until the conversation with the other guy was done. And then I walked up to him, and he was able to turn around, and he was completely cool. And he, you know, it made sense at that point to have the conversation. And then after I was able to compliment him, after I was able to ask him a couple questions, then I say, hey, would you mind taking a picture? And I could tell he was like, really? He's like, yeah, but it's, you know, it's cool now. Observation, what's going on? Connecting with people, staying in touch. Are you constantly staying in touch with it? So stay in touch. Try to do this. Try to actually contact. Not contact for the business, but just try to connect with 10 people every day, consistently for an entire month, every day. And people are like, well, I normally take Sundays off. Why? This has nothing to do with work, so it's not violating, it shouldn't violate any religious thing. Saying hi to people, That's not against anything that I know of. Now, if it is something, I'm not asking you to break any rules inside of religion or inside of your own personal belief. But I'm saying push yourself 10 people a day. Even stranger, 10 new people every day. Imagine if on a consistent basis, every single month, you had to say hi to a new 10 people every day. That's 300 people a month. That's 3,600 people every year. And then you got to start over again. Now, here's what I'm looking for when I do that. Who is responding and what are they responding back with? That's the observant part. Are they just saying hi to say hi? Are they lazy and just waving? And after I do this several times, I'll go back and look at the message and be like, am I the only one who's reached out? If I'm the only person who's reaching out, then I know for a fact this is a one-way relationship that's probably going nowhere. But if there's back and forth, that's what I'm looking for. Now I want to make contact. And you see how it's so much less confrontational that way, where it's not just business, 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 business. Although, if you were with me, it would seem like it's always business, because most of this connection and contacting, I'm doing when? I'm doing when I'm waiting for a call, or I'm doing when, you know, I'm waiting at a restaurant, I'm at the gym. And obviously, I usually can't be on the phone, although Bess and I have been talking at 2 in the morning. I know I've talked to Dave Roeder before late night. I know I've talked to Jim late night. I mean, if you just look on here, Steve I've talked to late night. I'm just looking through. Chris, Dr. Chris and I have spent 2 hours on the phone late at night, and he's like, what time is it there? And didn't realize that it was a completely different time zone. I'm just seeing who else is here. Pasha and I have talked. Almost everybody on here. That's the people on here. Just imagine all the other people that are out there. So this is kind of making sense. Like, I pushed myself initially not to necessarily have conversations about business. It took everything out of me just to have a conversation about anything, because I wasn't used to conversing with people. I knew how to talk about specifically what I liked, but I did not know how to ask questions and talk to people about what they liked. And that's what gets you the furthest inside of a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Bess?
Yeah, that is an art because we get so wrapped up in ourselves. A question about your 10,000 texts a month, that's 333 a day. And when people, I just wonder what kind of response you get back. Do you start conversations? And also, would these would be people that you know already, I'm thinking, because I've had people on Facebook, they were my Facebook friends, but I hadn't talked to them for a long time, and when they say, hi, how are you, I never respond to those if I don't really know the person, because I think, well, they could go to my Facebook page and see how I am and comment. I look for people who commented on something like, wow, that was a cool vacation you went on, or I really like what you said on the video, or I like this post, or something like that. If they post about something or they have a question or need, then I respond to them. But if I don't really know them and they go, hi, how are you, I just think, well, then they didn't take the trouble to learn something about me before they just said, hi, how are you? I never respond to those unless I know them. So do you do that, 300 a day with people that you know well, or is that just with, who are those people that you text?
So the 300 a day, 10,000 text messages is everything between, if I have a conversation with Jim, for instance, is through text message, we might send 10 back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
So that would include 10 text messages back and forth. We're having a conversation about something.
Okay. And when you say, when you reach out, hi, how are you doing? Are those people that you know well, or people that you barely know?
Everything. All the above. I have people reaching out to me on about every platform. Mm-hmm. If I turn on LinkedIn right now, I have 3 to 10 people every time that are like, hey, how are you? Hi, what's up? The normal thing, if you're under 30, the less you say. You know, it's just like, what's up? Hi. You know, or worse, hey. The most rude, like, socially awkward people that I've met, their text message is, hey. That's just hey. So typically what I'll write back is hey back.
Right.
You know,
That's
just kind of see what happens. Most of the time, most of the people that are saying, hey, what's up, what's going on, they're trying to sell me. So I walk them through kind of open, you know, it's almost like, to me, it's like sparring. You know, okay, let's see how you come at me, what angle. I learned from it. I learned from it. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is horrible. This person has no idea what they're doing. You know, is it automatically go look at my video? Is it, hey, what's up? You know, the crypto people, lately I've gotten more of them than anybody in probably the last year to 2 years. Crypto, Forex trading, things like that. And I'll have conversations with them. Great. You know, how much do you have invested? You know, that's always my first question. How much do you have invested? I have yet to have a single person come back and tell me, well, I take that back. I have one friend. I have two friends that have had a lot invested. Both of them made over $1 million.
Yep.
And showed me the number. I was like, okay, so the one was posting it every single day. So, I mean, it was pretty obvious. You know, he's like, look, I'm at $880,000 and we're coming up on 90 days. I was like, all right, I know that you're making this because I can go back and I can add up all of the posts. The other one, you know, moved to a 20,000 square foot house in Hawaii with her family and a couple friends and launched another company. And she's like, you know, I made my money from the crypto world in the big run before it busted.
Yeah, so you can have some conversations.
But I asked the question, do you have your money invested? Because if they don't have their money invested, what are they really selling?
The idea.
The idea. That's it. And here's something that I can tell you overall. Most of us want people to buy into our product, but most of us weren't bought into our product when we first saw the business. Because it's almost like, typically, you see the product and the opportunity almost together, and here's kind of the psychological, like, mentally you have to go through. Mentally you have to say, okay, does this company seem legit? Like, mentally you have to ask that. Now, it may be subconscious, but mentally you kind of have to get to a point where the company has to be a 10. Like, okay, the people behind it looks like they have money. It looks like a real place. It looks, you know, it looks, if they said our company is located in Bangladesh, our company is located in, you know, some foreign offshore, you know, oil rig type island that nobody can get to, nobody can, I mean, do you see how the belief and the skepticism goes up? Goes up. But if you're like, hey, the people who are behind this, there's two guys that have been around 30 years, that have 30 years of success, the corporate headquarters they've put, you know, in Salt Lake City, in Dallas, Texas, in Miami, Florida, in Southern California, you're like, okay, it's a physical place you can drive to, I can see it. More believable. And what's funny is even when it's an internet company, even when it's 100% a service-based all over the world, we're located in Jacksonville. We have a physical office you can walk into, and there are real people there. All right, that makes me feel better. So I have to come to a 10. The second 10 is the need in the marketplace. Even if I don't need it, I have to believe the need is really there. Weight loss, hair care, you know, nutrition. I have to believe there's a real need there, that people would actually use and buy this. Because if I don't believe that people would really buy this, I'm done right there. You're not going to be able to close me out on it. But if I'm like, okay, the corporation's real, I'm a 10. The need is real, I'm a 10. Let's talk about the product. The product's there. You know, and here's again, it's not what I buy it. Do I think anybody else would buy this? The actual psychological trigger that will get you to actually join is, I know people who would buy this. Now, if you already want it, that just improves that, right? That's going to improve your ability to buy it. But if you're like, man, I know some people who would buy this, you're in. you're in. That's why it's so important to actually describe inside of your compensation plan, how many people does it take to get your money back if you join? How many people does it take to get your money back if you join? If you don't know that number, you better know that number really quickly and add that to your presentation. Because that's one of the psychological triggers that get people to buy on the spot. Because as soon as they go, I know Jim, I know Dave, I know Beth, I know Tracy, I know this one, I got them. I know the people who would buy this, I'm in. I don't even have to ask them first. I know they would. And what's funny is those are the people who don't buy it, you know. I mean, I'm not saying you guys wouldn't, but you know what I'm talking about. So that's 3. 4, the compensation plan. Do I feel that I can get my money back? Do I feel that legitimately people could make money here? Short term or long term? And last, the timing or the talent or the training. Are you describing to me a training where I'm like, man, I could do that? Are you describing to me the talent where I'm like, I believe those people did it, I believe I could do it? Timing-wise gets a lot of people going because you're like, look, we're here first. We're the only ones there. There's no other competition. It's us and or pay, full price, retail, whatever. We're the only ones. So your alternative is these 2 things. What do you want to do? You're like, well, that's, yeah. So if you got me a 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, the only determining factor now is you. Do I feel that you have the ability to lead me there, or you want to be so convincing that you know who can lead us there? Does it make sense? Even if you're not that guy, you're like, look, I know for sure the guy I'm working with or the people that I'm working with can get you to where you want to go. I know for a fact. You know, the one particular gentleman that I was discussing that I ran into, I know for a fact he's helped X number of people make X number of dollars from every background imaginable. So I'm positive if I can get you to him, you can succeed here. It's not a matter of if. Now, if it's a brand new company and nobody's made it, there's also kind of like the mysterious, hey, there's a possibility. And people will even run on that. But the more proof that you have, the better. Then it comes down to you. Do you trust me with whatever number of dollars it takes to get started to move forward? Too many people, watch this. So you join because you see these things. You join. And you're like, yes, I think I can do this. You don't really fall in love with the product until you've used it for a while and you have your own personal testimonial. A lot of people see the opportunity and actually join, and the product are kind of all at the same time. Too many of us go and we get somewhat educated, and what we're trying to do is, rather than just explain to people what this is, instead of getting people to buy in and date it, we're trying to get them to marry it. Let me tell you the difference. This is a really cool company. I mean, it's awesome. It's been around, got great people, the need's there. There's millions of people out there who have this issue, you know, whether it be weight loss or, you know, wanting better skin. You know, millions of people have this. They're constantly looking. They're constantly buying stuff off online. They're wasting money left and right. Here's the product line. Here's what it costs. It's affordable. It's high end, but it's affordable. You know, if you're already spending X number of dollars on crap, you can throw most of that away and just buy this instead. The compensation plan is there. They pay out X number of percent of the dollars that come in. You know, so you know that the money's there. If the company's done X number of dollars, they're paying out 30, 40, 50% of it. Here's how much money is there. It's being spread out. I can introduce you to people who are making money. Here's how you get your money back. Here's how many people you need. Here's the timing, here's the talent, here's what's going on. And, you know, do you trust me? I'm not saying you want to marry it and stop what you're doing and do this instead. See, that's where people go wrong. Is they're like, oh my gosh, you could quit your job tomorrow. That is scary to most people. You don't want to talk about that. It's great when it's at a convention and people are like, I was able to leave my job because jobs are horrible. And everybody's like, yeah, jobs are horrible. But when you're one-on-one talking about it, you don't ever want to discuss that. Oh my gosh, so many people have been able to leave their job and be financially independent. You sound crazy. When you're in a room full of 10,000 people and there's 100 people who have left their job, that seems normal. Do you see the difference? But I would never bring that up. I'm just trying to get them to date it. I mean, like $100, just go out on a date with it. Order something. You don't have to buy in. You know, most companies have like different packages, right? Package 1, package 2, package 3, package 4, the all-in package. I just want people in to experience. You can come to the event and buy all in. You can come to the event and get married. You can date it and go on a honeymoon and all that stuff. I just need a person physically in the program. People are like, okay, you know, here's the whole package. Does it make sense to get in and just get started and position yourself because we're moving right now? Yeah, okay. That makes sense. And I'll ask everybody on here, what is the unique reason why people should sign up with you? Do you have that reason? You need to think about that. What is the unique reason why people should get in this with you besides the fact you were the first one who talked to them?
What's in it for them?
Is it because you're willing to stay up and work and figure everything out? Is it because this is 100% what you're going to do? Are you just playing network marketer? You know, I really think you should join, but I'm really in 4 or 5 or 6 or 8 or 10 other things that I'm really not serious about, so I'm not really serious about this either. The moment you start talking to people about all the other crap you're doing, you actually, now it's scary to join with you because I don't know where the heck you're going. Just like, I mean, let's face it, how serious am I? If I come to you and I say, look, I know I'm married, but I'm dating these other 5 people. How serious do you think the marriage is? Where do you think the commitment level would be? People are like, this is not somebody we can trust. It's fine to buy many products, but it's different to be promoted.
So
and I just say that out there. Go ahead.
People join people more than they even join the company or buy the product, right?
Correct.
They want to know that this is going to be harmonious, compatible. We'll take them as far as they want to go, if it's just a little ways or a long ways. But they want to know that this is whatever their goal is, so that this will work. Even though we want to fire our sponsor eventually and be independent on our own, but still there's that influence, and is that good or bad for them?
So guys, what other questions do you have? I think we've talked on some good ones. I hope I've given some, good information. What else do we need to go over?
Yeah, thank you, Steve, because you always bring up questions that a lot of other people have on their mind too. So everybody learns from it. We all learned, right? We all learned a lot. So thank you.
I have a suggestion. I don't know if this would help much people, but with what we're doing, time management might be something to look into. I'm referring to how busy we are, not just in the marketing, but with life in general, to open up time to put into being serious about what you need to do.
I'll give you a real good one on time management. And I heard this from one of my mentors. If you have a newspaper subscription, go to the obituaries and read about 3 of them every day. I know that sounds. I mean, I'm not actually joking. Like, do you realize how short of a time you actually have? I mean, any of us could go any second. And people over here, well, I need to manage. No, you need to get important stuff. The problem is not time management. The problem is priorities. Most people's priorities are jacked. They're like, the most important thing in my life is my family, and then they sit on the couch and watch TV for 18 hours, and they tell me about the TV shows they're watching. I'm like, you want to know what's really important to you? Where you're spending the most time. And you're spending the most time in front of Netflix. not your family.
We vote with our time.
Yeah. So I mean, it's real simple. I'm like that. I can point out the problem because all I have to do is look at your Facebook page. So from a time management standpoint, I don't talk to people about time management. What I talked about is what are your priorities, and what is your level of commitment. You know, do you have TV? Yeah. How many hours do you spend in front of it? What shows do you like? That's why I kind of get into the soft, easy stuff first to talk to people about. Or like, hey, what do you like doing? You know, are you more of a movie person? Are you a TV person? Do you read books? Like, I want to know what people are doing with their social life. What are you doing? You have 168 hours a week. Everybody has the same amount of time. Rich people do not have more time than you. They just use it differently. They don't have special, I mean, some of them have special sleep chambers, but you don't last real long by trying to cut the sleep down. A lot of people have proven that one. So if you sleep the same amount of time, everybody has to get up, take a shower, get clothes, eat food. You know, my uncle actually said something really interesting. He's like, you know, regardless of how much money you have, do you really think that it's really your life is that different than some of the most successful people in the world, other than the fact that they're making different decisions and spending different time, because they have to sleep about the same amount of time. They have to get up and take a shower just like we do. They have to take care of their teeth just like we do. They have to take care of the, you know, the rest of the stuff that you got to do. They got to do too. He goes, even when it comes to food, he goes, you might be able to go to a nicer restaurant and buy a more expensive steak, but is that steak, if you eat steak, is that steak really that much better for you?
Nope.
Then it really, a lot of it comes from the exact same place, which is really funny. You're just paying 3 times as much to sit with a group of people that you probably don't like. So then there's the rest of the hours, and this is done all the time. If you really add up most people's life, if you say, this is when I sleep, this is when I get up, this is how long it takes me to get ready, this is how long it takes me to get to work, this is how long it takes me to get home. If you add all that up, the average person has anywhere between 20 and upwards of 50 hours a week that are unaccounted for, that people can be like, I have no idea this amount of time. That's probably the time that you're watching TV, scrolling on Facebook, playing Bubble Pop, playing, you know, I get all these damn game requests from all these network marketers who are really serious about their business, and then I get 52 game requests from them. Shadow Pop, Bubble Pop, you know,
Candy
Create Your Own Garden. I can't remember all of them. Bejeweled. If you start sending me gaming stuff, like, I know right away. Where, you know, funny videos, whole series of videos. You know, some people are sending me the whole series.
So not people you want on your team.
Well, no, and here's the thing. Here's what... you want those people on your team. I want thousands of them. But who are you going to work with? Who do you have time to actually build with? The person who sends me that, see, remember, most people, that's another awareness thing. A lot of people will get in not because they're there to build, but because they're there for the environment. Who is here for the environment? There's certain people on here, they're here for the environment, and we love you to death. And there's certain people on here who are like, I need to get a kick in the rear end or in the head to move me forward.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want to move forward. I want to make this happen. Time is short. What do I need to do, and what do I need to track? How many presentations are you getting done? If you're not getting presentations done, let's step backwards and say, how many people are we contacting? Where are the people we're contacting? Where are the people coming from? If we don't have enough people to contact, then there's no way we're going to have enough presentations. So let's fix the problem. The problem is we don't have enough people to talk to. We're not working from a list. If you're not working from a list that you've already built, where are your people coming from? Well, I'm hunting people online. That's not going to be fast enough to build a significant business. Not in 2 to 5 years. Now, if you want to be in your company 20 years and you want to walk across stage and have 2 people help you and then help you back into the wheelchair to roll you back to your seat, that's fine. But if you want to get it done in the next 24 months, you're going to have to do something much, much different than the work you're doing. And this is true in I mean, if you want to become a professional in this, it's true in every single thing. Again, I go back to my conversation I have with the friend that I worked out with who had competed before. I thought I was working out hard. I thought I was working out at kind of a peak level. And then I come in, and he's like, okay, well, let's work out tomorrow legs. I was like, okay, cool, I'm ready to do legs. I do legs all the time. I'm strong with legs. But I was nowhere near competitive, like at that level. So if I wanted to like be a ring earner in fitness, because he was a physique competitor, if I wanted to be a ring earner and physique competitor, here's what I realized. I was coming in and warming up and doing 3 sets of 10 to 15 warm-up extensions, and then I was doing warm-up curls, 2 to maybe 5 sets, depending, because my hamstrings aren't as strong as and usually your hamstrings aren't as strong as your thighs. So I would do those, and then I went straight over to squat, and I would do a couple squat, not a lot, and then I would do leg press, and then I'd be done. When I started out with this guy, we start out, and he's like, well, we're going to do 4 sets of 50 reps each leg. I was like, each leg? He's like, yeah, we're only going to do 1 leg at a time. So 50 here, 50 here. That's 1. So that's 100, right? And we're doing 4 sets, so I added up real quick. That's 400 reps. We actually did more reps of one exercise than I did my entire workout stretch, and that was the first exercise. Then we went to the second exercise, and I was used to doing leg press, like 1, 2, 3, 4. Here was his idea of leg press. You do 10 as wide as you can do, then you do 10 in the middle, then you do 10 with your legs your feet basically touching, then you do 10 halfway apart, basically, you know, hip width apart, then you do 10 wide. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. 50 reps. That was 1 set. We did 5 sets. This was the warm-up. By the time we were done with the second exercise, we were nearing double the amount of repetitions I did normally. Then we went over and we did... The heck did we do next? Then we went to squat. And his squat routine was way different than anything I had done. He went up, he pyramided up to the top weight, landed in Anchorage, Alaska. My mom just got there. Cool. So we pyramided up to the top. And again, this is, if you kind of relate this to working with a professional, think about all the work you do in a month. Just think about this. All the work you do in a month in your business, imagine sitting down with a professional, a $1 million earner inside of the industry, and he's like, okay, we're going to get all that done. The entire work you do for a month, we're going to need to get that done right now. Like right now, in the first hour you work with that person. That's the difference. And what I can tell you is, you'll actually work less. You actually work less. When you become really good at doing this, you'll work less than what you're working right now. Because I guarantee, tell me if I'm wrong, Dave, you spend 99% of the time thinking about doing it and 1% actually doing it. How many people have ever been guilty of that?
About 1.1%.
I'm just saying, you know, I'm not picking on Dave, but I'm just saying because we've had this conversation before. Spend all this time thinking about it, all this time worrying about it, all this time planning it. But if you actually track the time you are actually physically doing it, I mean, just to kind of give you an example, like I've been trying to connect with people today, right? So let me go back. Okay, so 10 a.m., 10 a.m., 10 a.m. 2:19 I started. Hey, how far away are you? 2:21. Nope, not crazy. Still working on the same thing. 2:22. What's going on? 2:37. Hey, we need to get together. 3:30. I had finally booked my first appointment. 4 o'clock. I booked another appointment. 4:02 had another conversation for somebody who's coming in Tuesday that we're going to try to get together before we get out of here. 4:09 had another conversation with a friend of mine out in California that couldn't get together today. We're going to do it another time. Then we left and went and grabbed food. 4:47 can we talk later tonight? So that's an appointment for even after this class. And then I have an appointment coming in, somebody that is flying in. I have an appointment, and then I'm talking. I actually have to put 2 things in the computer. That's going to basically, I have 2 sales to put in. That'll hit our next promotion. Unfortunately, it's at the very last moment. That'll get done. 4:56. Hey, how's it going? No response. 4:58. Hey, how's it going? No response. 4:58. No response. 5 o'clock. No response. 5:01. No, this is no longer this number, this person. 5:02. No response. 5:14. No response. 5:15. Is this so-and-so? No, it's not. 5:18, not the right person. 5:20, no, this is not the right person. 5:20, nothing back. 5:21, who is this? I had to send, recognition for who I was. 5:23, no response back yet. 5:25, no response back. Finally, at 5:25, I hit somebody. Do you see how many people, this is how many people I'm going through in the time frame. You know how many people I talked to today? 3. That's the only people I got a hold of. We need to go. Then finally at 5:30, hey, can we talk right now? This was somebody I talked to the very first. I tried to talk to this person at 3:53 right before we left. I said, hey, how's your weekend treating you? What are you doing? When do you have a minute? And she sent a picture of her at the zoo. I said, call me when you're done. 6 p.m., got a hold of somebody else, and we just kind of had a quick 15-minute conversation through text message. At 5:19, this was another person I had contacted. They responded back at 7. We had a quick conversation. We've got a call that we're going to do there on. 1, 2, 3. So these are all different people. This is one half a day. Just to kind of give you an idea of how many people it takes to go through, and roughly in the company right now, because we're just starting building again, just to kind of give you an idea, and what's fun is you can sometimes get together with people and do this as a group. Say, hey, we're going to do phone calls or we're going to do text message as a group for maybe just 2 hours. And just make it a goal. It's not where you can get to. It's just how many people you can contact in that 2 hours. And you can do it. You can do it over the phone. You can do it as a group. You can be like, hey, we're getting together virtually online like this, and do this with people. Where's my reports? Stupid ass thing. Reports.
Yeah, you can have a little contest and say, at the end of the 2 hours, whoever gets the most, people that they've actually talked to gets to. We take you out to dinner or something like that. But I think that you could do the same thing at home if you set a timer. But getting together with the people helps you not get distracted, and get caught away from something else because the whole team is doing it. So there's that momentum and that commitment.
So, that is the plan.
All of that from a time management question.
So what do you do when people spam you on social media?
I try to turn it around on them. I'll sometimes ask people, I was like, hey, got your spam message. I mean, I make fun of it. Hey, I got your spam message. I said, how well is this working for you? Have you signed anybody up? I mean, that's a person you want to talk to because what they're doing probably isn't working.
Uh-huh.
That's what I do too. I say, hey, I know a method that you might help you here. I send them information about our method.
What I've been doing is just say, hey, let's connect and chat and see if we can collaborate or refer each other.
Yep.
And then sometimes they don't show up, so,
They wanted it to be one way, their way, not mutual.
Okay, for your...
Who else has a question? And I thank Steve for these, and thank David for yours.
So just to prove my point, when you're very specific, I wanted to try something, and I got my response back. And this comes from the biggest person in our industry. So I've never gotten a response back, nor have I ever tried to contact this person. I said, hey, and I'm not going to give you his name yet. I said, hey, I just want to say thank you for reconnecting with some of the people in my company. I know that the history was not all good, but I can see the future is going to be great. He said, actually, there's more good than bad in the history department, but yes, it was really great to reconnect. Eric Worre just wrote me back.
Oh.
So it just, I mean, you talk about, and we don't know each other. I've never been introduced to him. But when you're really specific, that's what happens.
Good. Facebook Messenger?
Yeah.
Yep, awesome.
And we're not connected on Friends or anything, so it's pretty amazing.
A thank you and being specific. People love to be thanked and be noticed for what they did. So, yeah, Eric came and spoke at your convention. And he's responded about half the ones that I've sent him as well. And it's been about, you know, something that I could help with or thank him about or take something to the next step with. Good job, Jeff.
But it just goes to show, I mean, the point is, are you reaching out?
Well, I have a question about the low-key personalities because I am one. You said you must talk to 3 times as many people. Is that 3 times as many? Now, there have been, you know, D personalities like yours, even people that are more D that just do not relate to me, but they do relate to you, you know, so they've come into the school and they find that, okay, they can get along. They need somebody like you, not me, you know, I'm not their speed. Other times I do because I have, you know, enough D in me too. But what if we talk with other S-type people or other, you know, low-key people? Do you still need 3 times as many, or should you just be discriminating who you talk to?
Well, think about this. If 2 S peoples meet and you both have the same dominant personality of feeling, sharing, whatever, doesn't it still make sense that the person who has the higher energy, who has the better direction, who has the bigger dream will influence the other person?
Yep, greater influence.
So that's how it's going to work. So typically, what I'm talking about is when you have a low-key personality, what I'm talking about is if it's low energy, not necessarily just S-type, C-type, where it's more on the reserved side, but you have to evaluate every situation to be able to get people to move in the direction you want or be able to influence people. Even if you have the exact same personality, what you have to ask is, who has the greater influence? And watch this. This is bad. But watch how you can use this to your advantage. When you find out who that person's influencer is, if you can get a hold of that person, you can influence that person however you want. Now, the problem is for good and bad, so be very cautious of that. You know, I'm cautious of when I teach some of this, because you said, hey, this is the, in the beginning of the class, you say this is the super in-depth. This is just the basics. The super in-depth stuff is when you start using psychology and people's names and getting people to shake their head and yes and all these other tonality-based things. You can actually influence anybody once you learn how to do this. Tony Robbins talks about this. You can learn how to direct your mind and body to influence anybody, but the question is should you?
All right.
Can you? Yes. Should you? Totally different question. Is it for the betterment of the person, the betterment of you, and the betterment of the greater good? If it's not for all 3 of those, then probably you shouldn't.
Right.
What most people do is they learn, hey, this is the betterment of me, and they learn how to become very persuasive, and, you know, we have thousands of horrible stories in history of people that learn to be super influential, unfortunately. And the betterment of the people was not there.
People can make a lot of money on selling, well, here's how to, you know, control a man or make him desire you eternally or whatever, you know, never leave you. And, you know, that's totally about control and serving self and all that. When the personalities get together, I notice that for me, I can still be low-key. I do not have to talk faster or loud. Right. But if I am focused and if I know what I want and I know where I'm going and I do not get distracted and it's about service to me and the person, they can feel all of that and then they trust that and then they follow that or even grow it in themselves. So thank you for clarifying that for me. Who else has a question?
I want to go on personalities if I could. Since you brought that up, Bass.
You want to learn more about the personalities?
Well, I forget the exact name, but the C type, the last one.
The conscientious type, more mental, logical.
Yeah, the ones that want to know most of the facts.
Right. Facts.
Could that personality be a good thing or be used to your advantage?
I'm sorry, can you use it to your advantage?
Yeah, or that can be a good thing.
If you're a C, then what good is it in network marketing, you mean?
Basically.
I actually don't know a whole lot of C people, but I'm thinking of like Dr. Spock on Star Trek or people that are I know some, they're very, very strong and powerful in their own mental organization of things and bring that to the table, which can be very handy. And they also attract, other people like that. I know another coach actually who's like that. And I said, I'm more of the feely type, so maybe we could refer people to each other if somebody ever needs your type or your that more mental oriented.
How can that be a benefit?
In network marketing, you mean?
Yes.
Jeff?
How can it be a benefit to a C-type personality?
Or your advantage. Yeah. Or can it be to your advantage?
Yes. Okay, so here's where it comes to your advantage. C-type personalities are super analytical. So the guys that I've known that have done very, very well inside of those type of businesses basically start out by saying, look, my personality is I'm one of the analyticals. I'm like the engineer. I'm the accountant. I have to know every stupid detail to be able to do anything, and I have to check and recheck and make sure that absolutely positively that this thing is there, worked out, whatever. And it takes me forever to come up with those answers. Now, we've checked this out, and I've made the decision that this is what I'm doing. So to the people who are kind of like, oh, when you're able to bring up, so I have a friend who's super analytical, and he's like, look, before I got into this company, I just want to let you know that I checked it out. I read every article. There were about 40,000 articles. I combed through about the first 4,000. I called Dun & Bradstreet, or I ran a Dun & Bradstreet on them. I looked at the Small Business Administration. I went to the Better Business Bureau to see if they, what their rating was. I mean, he listed out probably 17 different resources. He goes, I'll be real honest, most of you checked with your stupid brother-in-law.
Yeah.
He's like, I checked out these 17 sources and everything said. I mean, he did. I mean, he's like, I found out that we were working part-time with Coca-Cola, and I called the executives to find out what the relationship was with 10 or 15 of the major Fortune 500 companies. He's like, every one of them, yes, great company, great partnership, here's how long we've been in business with them. He asked, well, why would you guys be in business with them? He goes, well, look at the volume, look at their history, blah, 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 blah. Like, he had notes on the calls he made, and he probably made 50, 60 calls and had a list of questions and checked it out from every angle. And then he came back and he goes, so if you're kind of questioning whether you might think this is a good idea or whatever, he goes, so I have 10 corporations. I have 10 executives in each one of those corporations that make anywhere between $100,000 to $500,000 a year. I've checked with the Small Business Administration. I've checked with the Better Business Bureau. If you somehow can prove to me that you make more money than all of these people combined and that your opinion's greater, come up here, here's the pen, and draw out why this doesn't work.
So they're good at validation, or they're good for the purpose of validation, and nobody's done that much work, so they're good for saving other people time, and they're good for being loyal too, because when they've done that much work, they're going to stick and stay, even though they've taken a longer time to arrive at that decision. So I guess that's what they're good for, whether that's you or whether it's somebody, a prospect on your team.
Because the people who are disorganized value somebody who's organized. Like, man, that person's super disciplined. I'm not like that. I can't keep everything in that order with those notes and those details. Like, that's a skill by itself.
But thank you for doing the research for me, because I don't have to do it.
So with that, I have about 2 minutes before my next person walks in. Is there anything else? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to exit off, even though the show will still be here. Is there anything else I can help with?
You were saying that type can be a good thing in research?
Absolutely.
Yeah, the S and the C do a lot of research and take their time, checking it out for themselves, but they become loyal people. Rather than make a snap decision, it's, in and out, quick in and out, so they're more steady.
Including in recruiting as well?
Yeah.
So I want to say I was more in the listen mode today, and thanks for all the info. And it is about getting yourself out there and meeting a lot of folks, but then also figuring out the time to kind of shut up and just realize, okay, this was more a relational one, and then come back. It takes several times, so it is a key of reaching out. And people ask me why I know so many people, and it's just because of that very reason. You just call up, and then when you call up somebody, you find out about 3 or 4 other people what they're doing. So when you talk to the next person, you can just relay the message, and they're real happy to hear what's going on. So that whole secret thing is reaching out, just saying hello to a lot of folks, and then they know what you're going to be anchored in because you've talked to them several times. So those were all good key points, but tonight I was just more in the listen mode. So that's my take and stuff, and thanks, everybody.
Thanks for your takeaway, and Jeff, I know you need to run, and thank you for all of this too. I got a lot out of myself tonight too. We can keep the recording still going, right? Correct?
Yes, at the moment.
Okay. We can. What I can do is make sure that everybody goes off or hangs up before I do, because that'll make sure the recording is stopped.
Okay.
We could continue or see if there's any other questions, or I could even share what I had brought tonight. We can see what everybody wants to do. So thank you.
Awesome, guys. Thank you.
Okay. See you later, Jeff. And anyone else have before we take any takeaways, anyone have a question?
Hey, Ben.
I did.
Okay.
Oh.
Go ahead.
All right. Thanks. So when we give the presentation to somebody, and they come back and say, well, I want more information. I want to do more research and find out what it's all about and all this stuff. And then, so you send them information, all the information that you get about the company, the products, and all that stuff, Is that right?
Yes, if they're a C or an S type personality, an S is like me about relationship, and the S is the analytical people. So we're thorough people, and we're slow to make a decision. We like to look at all the different aspects of it. So probably it'll be a C or S is asking you that. So yeah, send them the links, let them research to their heart's content, and give them time. You back up, let them do their research. You can connect them with the third-party call, but those would be probably they want to do some of their own research because they trust themselves, to make their own thoughts before they want to be influenced by a third-party caller or go to a meeting. But definitely arrange the third-party caller and say, well, and also I have an expert who can answer any questions you have about this, because maybe I would try that first. And if they want to do their own research or want more information, then give them all the links and everything. But I think first I would try I would offer them the third-party call and or get them to a meeting so that they can have that social proof and validation, and they could ask all their questions at that time too. That would give them the social proof in addition to the information rather than just get the info on their own.
So don't just send them all the information that I have.
I would offer a third-party call and then say, do you still have questions? Because the third-party call could answer all of their questions, and they go, okay, no, that was it, or no, I'd still like to know more about 2 more things, and then you know what it is, rather than you send them, everything. And if they go, I want everything, then send them everything and give them the time and just back up, and you can check back with them and say, are you liking what you're seeing so far? Yes, I'm about halfway through it, or I forgot all about it, or I got busy, or what. And then you can say, well, when would be a good time to check back with you and see if I can help you with any questions.
Okay.
But do try to, third party.
Well, I was taught in my by a lot of the experts in my last company. So you give them the information, it's like, well, it was really about after you send the video to them, because that was a thing then. Anyways, it's like, when do you have time in the next 24, 48 hours that you'll be able to take a look at it?
Oh, sure. Even Eric Worre, his technique in his book, and I was teaching that book for a few years between the time it came out and now. But even Eric Worre says, well, what you say is, if the person has a question, well, if I give you a video, would you watch it? It's a deal we make. And when do you think you'll have watched it for sure?
Right.
Not just maybe, but for sure, so you save both your time checking back. But that still makes another appointment with the person. And then if they don't have time to watch it, or they forget, or get distracted, and then they feel bad because they didn't, and then they start avoiding it. So that's so cumbersome, and it takes more time. So success loves speed, and that's why I love the 10-minute presentation. Maybe Eric will be teaching with this method one day. That's what I hope. I'd like him to learn about it. Maybe I could share it with him somehow, or Jeff could. So with the 10-minute presentation, you know how fast that happens.
Just call them up and say, hey, can I ask you a favor?
Right.
I really like what you're doing. I was wondering if you could do me a favor.
Right.
Hey, worst thing you say is no or not answer, right?
I think it's maybe it will be the right time to offer it to Eric, because he's so influential and can help a lot of people that way.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I'll say, if I would you. Hey, Eric, that's his thing. If I do a method that was the best, even that you might possibly like, even better than all the ones you teach now, that's better than yours, would you like to hear about it?
Yeah, I've read his book, and what I was saying, what you're saying is, like, if I send it to you, will you watch it in the next time frame? And if they didn't, then you say, well, when for sure will you be able to take a look at it?
See, we skip all that stuff. But if you are sending them a video, here's a cool thing to do. and that is say, well, here's the video. Can we watch it together now? Say it's a 7 or 15-minute video. And so you text it to them, or they send it on their computer. Anyway, you text it to them. They're playing it. Now, you know that video by heart already, Bill. You've already seen it. If you know it by heart, then you can go do something else. Put your phone on mute, and then you come back, and at the end, so you can say, well, what did you like best about that? And do you have any questions? Then you can get your party call. Go ahead.
We have a video. Well, the video that we've been using for the longest time has only been about 3 minutes.
Okay.
Now they have, with the app, they have more videos, and it's like.
I learned this technique a long time ago from a friend who found it was very successful with it. Then you don't have to make an appointment, chase them down, they don't forget it, and all that stuff. You say, okay, I'll send this to you now. Do you have 3 minutes right now to watch it together? And that works really well. Then you're right there, and answer any questions. And you could go get a cup of coffee while that 3-minute video is on, but you're right there with them. So success loves speed, and anytime you can move into the next step immediately rather than wait a day or 2 or 3 or something like that, you can see how that would lose the momentum. Whereas with the 10-minute presentation, you say, hey, I want to ask you a favor, is this a good time? And they go, yeah, this is a good time. And immediately, the 10-minute presentation, and then immediately, what's your interest? And let me connect you with a third-party call and intro them immediately, so it happens real fast. You don't lose, forget.
Would you have to have your third-party, your expert available?
You
or
don't
you
have
just text them and just say, hey, when are you available to talk?
You do a 3-way text.
Right.
Right then, and then you back off. Then you let your expert and your prospect take it from there. You don't have to do another thing.
Okay.
They talk. They set the time. Hey, is now good? No, tonight will be what time? 7 p.m. Okay, I'll call you then. See?
So you say, well, so and so meet my prospect. They'd like to learn more about it. You guys can chat. Right.
Yeah. Louise would like you to meet Beth. She has heard my 10-minute presentation, and she's interested in both the product and the business, and has a couple questions for you. And I wonder if you could help her out.
Okay, great. So I'll do that from now on. Because I think when I was talking with Jeff a while ago, and we were going over the information about my company. You're saying, well, send them this information, which is a big, long, drawn out kind of. It's a short letter, but there's a bunch of different videos on there with different experts and all that stuff. Which is, I guess, time consuming. So I like what you're saying. It's like just keep it short, to the point, and keep that momentum going.
Don't be afraid of speed. Don't be afraid to go direct and help a person along. They need you to take them from step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They don't know the way, but you do. And if you wait too long or hesitate, well, they can forget. They can lose momentum. They can forget their own interest. So know where you are going. Know where you want to take that person. If they're ready for step 1, then take them there. And if they're ready for, keep moving along. Have it all prepared in your mind. You run a mind movie. Take an imaginary rehearsal of this. Where the person says, yes, I'm ready, yes, I want to, yeah, now is a good time to hear a 10-minute presentation. Yes, I'm interested in the product and business. Yes, I'll talk with your third-party caller, and just move them right along. Have that all prepared and rehearsed, and expect that will happen, so that you're ready, and you go, okay, just dance with them. The ones that are ready to dance fast, be right in step with them.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well.
Or even take a dance lesson, because what we learn in our body, we learn in our body-mind. So if you can be in rhythm with that person who's ready to move fast versus the person, well, I need to research 10 links before I get back to you. You know, then you dance with them and you back off and let them take their time.
Okay.
But come ready for whichever speed the people are at. Be ready to slow down, be ready to speed up, and you adapt to them, like Jeff was saying, you know, get on their wavelength. It's a dance, but they need to be led. You're the leader, you know the way. They need you to show you, well, what's the next thing I do and what's the next thing I do. And two of the personalities are going to move fast, the dominant and the I, you know, the D, the dominant, and the I, the influencer, which is a fun-loving person, you know, the humor, and they want to just get on with it. They don't want to wait, and they don't want to mess with details. And the other two are the steady, like I am, the relationship, even though I can talk fast. And Steve asked, what's the C stand for? That's the conscientious. Conscientious. The analytical people. Now, Brandy, Jeff's fiance, is a C. She says she's a high C. So, you know, she's very logical about things. And through and can focus on details, too.
What I've been wanting to show you guys is the bank system. You know, what's her name? I forgot the lady's name who wrote it. But she has these cue cards with, you know, it's bank system. So there's B for blueprint, the analytical, the action, the A-type personality, the nurturing, and the knowledge. So there's the bank. And then they have, on each one, they have a few different values. And then what you can do is you can send them to somebody, not really the physical cards, or if you're meeting them in person. This is what they showed me, and I haven't really followed up with it because I'm like, it's like, oh, let me try to figure out this way or this way that works better. But this is what they told us to use, is you hand it to them if you're in person, and have them look at it, and put them in order of which ones they see are the best ones for them.
Yep. So you do little personalities.
You learn more about their personalities.
Yeah. Yeah. And they can learn, they can show you right there what they are or what they gravitate to. I'd like to welcome Lisa that I didn't notice when you came on. Welcome, Lisa. This is a recap tonight of 1 to 5, and we're actually taking questions and everything. I'll stay on till we're done, though. And thank you for your questions.
Hey, Beth.
Yes.
I'm not sure if we finished with my question of the C type. Like, I feel like that's my strongest description of myself. Like, you know how they say stories tell, facts tell? I feel like I'm the opposite.
Right, and facts.
Yeah, like, so you think that could be a good trait for recruiting as well?
Okay, that's what I thought you were asking is, how do the C's, what part do they play in network marketing, and can they be successful? And absolutely. Absolutely. Now, when you look at your personality type, you say, well, what are my strengths? So there's that analytical and the facts, and then you look at your weaknesses and you say, okay, let me be aware of my strengths and use those, you know, to analyze, to give facts and present things logically and in order, and you know, all the bullet points and all the research that you've done. And okay, so you're good at telling facts. Now, you also want to look at what your weakness is. So your weakness could be telling stories, lightening up, having fun, going quicker when a person needs to. And so if you are, we want to be chameleons enough to adapt to the person in front of us. So if I am a C, if you are a C, and a person in front of you is a D, then you might want to speed up and dance with them a little bit. If the person in front of you is an I, you might want to tell some stories and throw in some humor.
Yeah, I've done that some, like, it kind of like carrying on a conversation without getting too much sidetracked.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say facts, I hope you don't mean, or I don't mean, like, not a lot of people look at studies, like, studying this and that, like, there's this radio show that does a lot of study, and we listen to it at work because it's the only station we get. But they talk a lot about studies of this and that of something.
Mm-hmm.
But more commonly, people don't care about studies.
Yeah.
They care about what, in my opinion, they care about what something does on a product, and you know, if they can save them money, but it's kind of hard to get them to think in their mind compared to what they're using to take the step. When you try to follow up, you don't get a response back. You're like, okay, it's like a flat tire rolling uphill or something. You're not getting any feedback.
When you're talking to another C, they'll love your studies.
Yeah.
And when you're not, and see who you are talking to and what is their speed and modality. So yeah, it can go awful flat if you're talking different languages, right?
Yeah, like you're, cause I'm all about saving money in different ways. Like, I don't know how much, I just want to give a quick example. I'm not sure how much your gas prices is, but for mid-grade I pay $1.80, and that's the lowest anybody's paid that can pay, if they play their cards right. Because I save $1.05 per gallon every time I get gas. And that's rare. And you have to know what you're doing to do that. But it's not hard if you go to Kroger. Just to where I know the facts. I know how to play the game and save money. I try to help others. But to them, it's like rocket science. Well, they say they'll try, but you know darn well they're not going to.
And how advantageous is that to know the comp plan? So I bet you like looking at all the all the rules, and you have to do this by a certain month or on this level and this percentage. You like all that stuff?
Up to a point, because once you get to a certain point, it's pointless unless you got progress. To like where you know, a lot of companies, different ones, because this is generic. You can get a car initiative. Well, for one, I don't care about the car. I'd rather have a truck.
Okay, so you know how to study. You probably have the aptitude more than any other personalities how to study the comp plan and how to use it to your advantage. You know, get that $1 off per gallon, or make sure that you don't miss out on, you know, getting this volume in at this time of the month, or this for this bonus, right? Yeah,
like, again, trying to speak generally, because some different companies use a point system to buy the products. Mm-hmm. And I figured out in detail of how, if you do a 1-pack versus a 2 or 3-pack, the company tries to trick you into saving money if you get to 2 or 3-pack, but you're spending more money to meet the point requirement for that month.
Right. So
you get to singles to save money, not on per pack, but you're going to spend for how much you're required each month to spend. Not many people would think of that.
That's genius, to know all of that and how to use something to your advantage like that. The other people who are going to value that is the C's, and maybe the other people. If you can do the work for them and give them the bottom line, then they'll value your work in that. But some people just don't care about the details. They don't care about saving a few dollars. They just care about going fast, or talking to more people, or having fun, or getting results, or connecting with people. That's what the other 3 personalities do. So be quiet about that, except when that person gets excited like you, then you know there's another seed. But when we feel something go flat, it's because we have not been able to stand in the other person's shoes.
So I'm excited about saving money, and I know how. And as you can tell, some people say I feel a level of excitement on what I know about. But the key is, like Jeff was saying, I'm not in the best town, and I get not interested without giving a chance to show them in any, no matter how you say it. Us redneck hillbillies don't care. But it's finding enough people. It's finding the right people without prejudging, but using common sense. Because you got to use common sense, even though it's not so common anymore. You know what somebody's going to say before they say it. You're not prejudging, you just know better. Does that make any sense?
Yep. Jeff had a good point when he said that if you're doing the favor script and you do the 10-minute presentation and they say, well, I'm happy with what I have, then they did not get that this was not about them. So be sure to approach people truly from a referral angle.
Yeah.
And do not direct it at them and say you and this, you know, and this is what we can do for you. Say this is what we do for people. Make it indirect so it's not about them, because if you start saying you, they're going to realize that you are really trying to sell them.
And so what I got then is they'd be like, okay, I know somebody in a realtor or whatever, and I'll let them know about you. At the same time, they're not going to tell. I feel like they're not going to tell me anything. They're telling me when I come across X person, you know, like an example, and then you wait so long, you're like, okay, yeah, I can believe that. Like a fish story.
People forget to give referrals, so what you can say if they are thinking of somebody, say, could you text introduce us right now?
Yeah.
So that they don't forget, because they always forget. I mean, most of the time they forget. So an introduction is better than telling somebody about you. Then you can take it from there.
Yeah, I mean, you can't do the same thing. You can't. It's all about people, different people too. Like people are so different. One person would think it's too personal. They want to bring them to you versus you to them. But yet the next person you meet might probably think the opposite.
Right.
And that's where the matters with the numbers game comes into play, about finding the people or coming across the people, however you want to say it. And that's my weakest point. And I use time management, like you say, in priorities. And, you know, doing one thing, getting out of the way so you can do something else as quick as possible. And I try to think, I got to get this going. I got to think, where can I go? Who can I talk to? I'm not sure about a lead company. I got to search or see if I got my notes or the notes on the PDFs to buy some leads. Like there's different ones. Probably get a small amount starting out just to get my feet wet, however the count goes. Like a number of leads, you can get 100 or 500 or maybe just 50 starting out.
Yep. Good. I'm glad you're going to do leads, and yeah, look back on your notes.
That's my goal, my objective, my plan. Was if I can get myself to find a good company name or website.
I think Jeff had some suggestions in that lead workshop for.
Yeah.
And.
Hi.
I
can tell you where you can get 1,000 leads for $15,
really?
And they're all network marketers. So if you give me your email address, I'll send you the information.
Just Lisa?
This is Becky.
Oh, 808?
I got the same leads.
Becky, do you just want to say the information right now? Where they can
I don't. It's easier if I can send it.
Okay. Does anyone want to Facebook message? Can they Facebook message you their email? Would you get it?
Sure, that would be fine.
Okay, Becky Gustafson, and she's in.
Actually, it'd be better if you'd send it to me by email, because I'm not always too good about getting those messages.
Do you
and
want
my email address is VG, like very good, 3954 at TELUS.net.
Okay, everybody got that?
I didn't get it all. Let's see,
It's VG, like very good, 3954 at TELUS, TELUS.net. Is it that you can't hear me, or I'm going too fast, or?
Let's see, I got VG's is very good, 3954 at TELUS.net.
Yeah, it's just that the VG is a symbol for, I mean, I'm just saying very good, the VG, so that you get the VG right.
All I know.
You don't need the very good.
All I know is like alpha, like in military, they got different words for alphabets to say what they are and clearly.
Okay.
Okay, good, great. And remember to do your most income-producing activities first in the day. So if it's calling leads or following up with people or sending out the favor script. So, and
that's another question.
And Steve, I have a suggestion for you.
All right.
When you talk with people and it goes flat, see if you can get feedback and say what happened here, what could have gone better. If it's a good friend, you say, well, I feel like I missed the boat here somewhere. Could you, would you do me a big favor and let me know what I could have done better? Or if there's another person that happened to be listening right then and that person walks away, ask someone for feedback.
When I get the response not interested or anything similar, I try to politely ask what took you away from it. Like somebody else gave a bad presentation. Is it this reason or this? Or, basically it should be fair. If you're not interested, can I ask why? What went wrong? What went sour in the past?
Yes.
And I don't get a reply after that. I'm like,
well, you
that
can
seems
ask.
Fair.
May I ask you a question about this? And if they say yes or no, then you can ask the question. But if you get permission first, or let them know why you're asking. If you become vulnerable and you say, may I ask you a question because I feel like I have a lot to learn in this, and this is I want to make this my career, and I feel like I have a lot to learn. Would you do me a favor to give me feedback right now? Or may I ask you a question so with the purpose of helping me to get better?
Yeah, that makes sense for that approach because it's even like maybe it was yesterday. I got a not interested, and I try my darndest. Okay, like what happened? Why not? And I basically got blocked, which it didn't bother me that much, but I'm like, okay,
One person said, Now, we don't take offense, right? We just become curious. One person actually said, I know you have, person says, oh, I'm not interested. And the other person said, well, I know you must have a very good reason for saying that. Would you be willing to tell me or share with me what that is? You know, how do you know you're not interested? And not
yeah, they didn't give me a chance.
Not to challenge them. Don't say, well, you didn't, you know, don't even think that, you know, because they could feel your energy. Like, well, will you tell me why? It's more like validate. You must have I know you have a very good reason for saying that you're not interested. I'm curious and I want to learn. Would you mind telling me how you know that is true for you? You might say, well, because I'm too busy, or because I have all that I need in this area, or, you know, sometimes they just don't like the person, and then they may make something up. But if you could never take it personally, ask for feedback, ask permission, become vulnerable, because I'm sincerely trying to learn. But do not have the attitude like, what's wrong? You know, that's not fair. You didn't even give me a chance. You know, wipe that out.
Yeah.
Don't even speak. If you're feeling that, then just say thank you, walk away, and take care of, you know, I do processes helping people to, you know, myself and other people to get over that and to have a different conversation inside. But if you cannot step out of that bad feeling, do not say anything. It'll come across as, defensive.
Like the best way, like you said, ask if you can ask a question.
Mm-hmm. And if it ever does fall flat, then I know that I have not been able to stand in the other person's shoes. But we get so full of ourselves or so wrapped up in our own agenda or in our own fear. Fear can keep me definitely from standing in another person's place, or taking things personally, or keeping like they owe it to me, you know, because I've got to build my business, so, you know, what's wrong, or feeling impatient or mad. Any of that can keep me from standing in their shoes. Now, a lot of people experience fear, too. That will keep you, fear keeps us in our own shoes, cannot let us stand in the other person's shoes.
Right.
So we have to take care of all this stuff first. That's exactly what I do with people. I do a lot of counseling, helping people to get outside that and take care of, basically, this is psychology, but we need to take care of our own needs before we can serve other people. And if we have unmet needs from history, from childhood or whatever, of not being listened to, then suddenly that, you know, not being given attention when we were little, then suddenly that person's not interested in what we have to say, and it triggers that old feeling and that old memory coming up in our energy field, in our body, in our feelings, like, you never listened to me. You know, don't I deserve to be listened to? Why do you say no? You don't want to hear you don't want to hear what I'm doing. Or you didn't really even listen. Your thoughts were somewhere else the whole time. So we become indignant because there's some unfinished business inside that won't let us stand in the other person's shoes. So if you ever experience this and you want help with it, that's when people come to me. That's what I do. I help them to fill up the missing places inside of self-esteem or ego or safety, healthy ego, or feeling safe, or giving oneself the attention and love that we are tempted to demand or require from other people. That all prevents us from doing this work, this network marketing work, because they can feel it. So that's what I do. Just message me if anybody ever wants to talk about that. So we take care of our needs, see what's missing, give that to ourselves. That's the formula. We say, okay, what am I feeling and what am I needing here? After something goes flat, or you feel angry about it, something that happened, or you're too afraid to make the calls, you can say to yourself, what am I feeling here? I'm feeling fear. I don't want to make the calls. I think that person's going to think less of me if I ask to help them this way. So, I'm feeling scared, and what am I needing? I'm needing self-esteem, that it's okay to ask a question. It's okay to say, would you be willing to hear what I'm doing in case you might refer somebody to me? And most of the time, need to realize that most of the time they are willing to help. The universe is friendly, not critical, but that we might have an inner child need. Well, they're going to attack me any first chance that they can. They're going to put me down. And so if we're expecting that, then we'd be afraid to stick our neck out and offer the favor script to somebody. They're going to find fault with it. They're going to tear apart my 10-minute presentation, when reality, like 1 to 3% of people might, but most of them are going to be glad to help. So we take a look at the fear and anger and clean that up, polish that out, fill up that need so that it's not there anymore, so that then you're good, you're okay. Then you can step into the other person's shoes or relate, or see what that person needs, because your own, what I call inner child, is not needy anymore. You see, if it's tugging on you, it's very hard or impossible to relate to another person's needs. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So don't worry about this. Just see if but don't worry about all this stuff. Go out and do the favor script. But if you feel blocked, if you can't do it, or if you have these reactions, that's when it's time to take a look. And I will put a link in the Facebook group called Real Conversations for Network Marketers, which tells you how to lead self-help, to lead yourself through the 4 steps of what's going on, what am I feeling, what am I needing, and how can I meet that need. These are 4 self-help steps that you can get you out of a bad feeling in minutes when you realize what's going on inside you. If you need help beyond that, then that's the time to message or call me. You feel free to call me. My number is 512-569-1139. That's 512-569-1139. Say, hey, what do you do about this or that? And maybe we'll, if it's a quick tip, I can give you a quick answer how to get out of feeling bad or negative or blocked. If it's a longer one, we could set up a coaching time. This is what I do. That self-help method, I'll put a link that will take you far, and it's a skill that I want everybody to learn, because you can get yourself unblocked in just minutes with it. Once you realize the need or what's missing in there and meet that need. We want to become experts, don't we, at connecting with people and being able to serve them. It can save you a lot of time. You can do more in less time. You can get more results and recruits with less prospecting, more customers, when you know all this. Sound good? Remember, this is a personal growth class disguised as a network marketing business. And Jim Rohn says it's more who you become that's more important than what you achieve in business. It's who you become on the way. That's what it's really all for. So we become better people. More able to serve life and do more good. That's what we're doing here, really. So you guys are all on track. You guys are each awesome. Anybody else? I'll stay until the questions are done. Anybody else have a question?
Yeah. It was kind of going along the lines of when you're contacting, network marketers, like that one lady, and I also have access to a list of all different network marketers or direct selling people who are in or were in, and they have a whole script of their own. But how would one approach that in this method?
Like Becky mentioned that her leads are network marketers.
Yes, I have a lot of the same. It might be the same company, but I don't know.
Okay. I have different people have different views on respecting other people in their companies, and usually I let them be. If they're in a company, then I like them to learn all they can there. Unless it's not a good company for them, then they could think of getting out. I consider being in a company a commitment, like a marriage, but don't think that you can't get out. You know, it's not as sacred as a marriage or anything like that. But I do consider it a commitment where we are learning about ourselves and growing. And I don't say, oh, come over here, it'll be easier over here, and try to tempt them. You know, and may or may not, because it's that stuff inside the person. So stay there until they can learn no more about it. You know, work on themselves and everything before they switch companies, because or else they just take the same personal growth block to another company. But what I think that some of the leads are ex-network marketers, or people who have been in a company previously, and definitely I like them because they already know a lot. So you have to teach them less. They know the ropes and all that stuff. If you know that somebody is already in a company, then why are you calling them?
One thing I heard about network marketers, sometimes once they've achieved a certain level, they're looking to get into another company.
Build anew or to add on. There are people who, there are some people who successfully, and good friends, successfully are running several companies at once. And I admire them for that, and they can even be complementary back and forth and everything. So I can see how they can do it. Generally, I just recommend that they just build one deep and put all their energy into one, because you can get more mileage by building deep rather than spreading it through, like 3 shallow companies, because when you put all your energy into one and build deep, you get more money that way.
Yeah.
Now, some people don't feel bad saying, are you in a company and are you happy there? Or are you looking for another company? Some people don't feel bad saying that. So it's a gray area, or kind of a slippery area for me, in that I do not want to catch somebody on a bad day with their company and say, oh, come on and try mine. I would rather they work it out. I'd rather they learn where they are.
Good point. Yeah.
For their benefit.
Good. Good point.
Like if you had a team, you would want people poaching your people and trying to attract them away. However, if they do leave, then perhaps you haven't lost anything. Perhaps they've just taken the people who are going to join them and quit soon too, because they're not committed people. So in a way, okay, let them go. Come here, clean out my team for me. Clean up, so I'll know who's the serious ones that I can rename, that I could work with.
Yeah. Now, I wouldn't try and, it never works if you're forcing somebody into something else.
Yeah, it temporarily might work, but so generally I would recommend just we're talking with former network marketers rather than current network marketers.
Yeah, well, it doesn't tell you who was in, or maybe it does. I don't know. I don't really paid much attention to it, but from last week's call, you're talking about. You guys were talking about network marketers could be a good, recruit. Could be.
Yeah, because they may want to add. They may want to add more onto their, or they may want to try out 2 at once to see which one they like better, or so it could be.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if you can, if it tells you if they were in. Or how long. I think it just tells you what company.
And that would be a question for Jeff, if he has bought leads like that before, or someone who does. Becky, do you know the leads that you have with network marketers? Does it tell if they're currently or
It tells the company that they, I don't know if if they are all still in the company or if they were in, or
you can't tell.
it's one they were involved with.
Okay, so you can call the person, you can ask,
Yeah, and then you can ask them if they are happy in their company and want to stay there and everything. You can say, well, are you interested in getting some leads? And you can tell them about this company that sells the leads. 1,000 for $15, and if you go through them within the month, then they'll send you another 1,000, and indefinitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, same company.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
And I can tell you another company, but you have to pay for your leads, but you get several.
Yeah, I found.
I'll or maybe you even know about it. PM Marketing or.
Yeah, I found a place you can get like 1,000 leads for, whereas I think it's 100 leads for $5, but you got to spend $20 up front, and then you can keep getting the $20 worth of leads for $5 each batch.
Like somebody said, all leads stink. But
a lead is a lead.
Yeah, a lot of people have good luck with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a person who gave their name for something, so, yeah, why did the network marketers give their names? So, thank you, good questions. Anybody else have a question?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I really like that idea of contact, stay in touch. And that was good for me.
Okay, so anybody, thank you for that takeaway. Anybody else have a takeaway?
Yeah, I had a lot of takeaways. I want to say something about from last week's call. Is I was at this cafe and I picked up a whole bunch of business cards. They had them out on display, and I happened to just call. I only had time to call a few of them, but I called 2 cards, and one person agreed to sit down with me and do a meetup.
Awesome.
The other person, said they were interested in something else, but didn't get back to me. So I might get back to him this week and just say, hey, what's going on? Like Jeff was saying, just how's it going?
Good.
So brings me up to today. Like what Becky was saying and what Jeff said is just text a bunch of people, say, hey, how's it going? One of the things that I learned in my last company was that was the 3 things I was learning about. They told us to do 3 by 3 by 3. 3 new contact 3 new people a day, 3 new presentations, follow up with 3 people, and pour greatness into 3 people a day. And they got to be different people every day, or 1 by 1 by 1, or 2, whatever it is. But they said the golden rule was 3.
Yes, John Maxwell says to encourage 3 people a day. So that sounds, or encourage a certain number of people a day. Beautiful.
And like what we were discussing really brought it to to where you're saying is the speed, and everyone's saying go fast, and I was like, okay, go fast. They never tell you how to go fast. That's one of the things that I like about the shows. You're going to get more into details about stuff, but
that's what people have told us.
Yeah, when people ask, oh, I want more information after the 10 minutes in presentation, or mine's like, well, rewind a little bit. What Jeff was saying is let people know how many it takes to get your money back, get the ROI, how many people you need to recruit, and bring that into the presentations.
You betcha.
Which I haven't done.
I'm real big on that because, yeah.
Yeah. And
because that's what I'd want to know if I was hearing that. I'd want to know.
Yeah, and then hook them up with a third party right away when they have the more questions.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of sending them this whole big email, just say, hey, I'll introduce you to a business partner who can answer your questions, and then connect them to, and then, because I always, with this new favor script.
And it's easily accessible, just like a savings account.
Yes.
But an account backed by your...
So, could whoever has the background noise mute themselves? Thanks. Thank you. That worked.
Oh, awesome.
So
as I was learning this new way of approaching people, talking to people, so I'm bringing that into my LinkedIn network. What was I saying? Oh, I was told to just send them the information. So now here I am, and I keep hearing from my companies, you utilize the three-way call, utilize my upline as professional. And I wasn't sure how to work that into this new way, in this new system. So now I know how to use that, utilize the third party. So thank you.
Great, good, okay. Second way to do speed is quantity.
Yeah.
Let's do both. Okay, thank you.
Oh, I'm going to sign off and say good night.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks a lot.
Good night.
You're welcome.
Thanks. Good night.
Any last questions, thoughts, takeaways?
Are you asking me that question?
Anyone?
The general.
Yeah, I think people are signing off. Okay.
Bye. Good night.
Good night, everybody. Thank you very much. Next time we'll do...
hey, Becky, check your email.
Pardon?
Check your email.
Did you say what's email?
Check it.
It's VG, like very good.
Becky, he has it. He said, check your email now.
Oh, check my email. Oh, okay.
She was patiently going to give it.
You're working on and talking at the same time.
How patient of you that you were willing to do that. So thank you all. We'll cover core number 6 next time, which is attend a weekly presentation. I really had fun tonight. I love hearing more from you like we did tonight. And if you ever have any feedback for us about what we can do better for you, please private message us or call us or something.
Steve Redden?
Yes.
Okay, I got it.
All righty.
I'll try and get it back to you soon.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Good night. See you next time. Let's put the stuff into action.
Oh, but you didn't give me your email address.
Who?
So look on the return email, Becky. I mean, look on the email.
I did. It doesn't show. It just says Steve Redden. Steve from the class.
On top of that says Ranger.
Says what? No, it doesn't.
If you click that name,
right-click it.
It should come down with the entire email address.
Click on the name, or perhaps right-click on it.
Or you can just forward the information back to him. Copy and paste your link
Steve,
to his.
To shortcut, Steve, could you give Becky your phone number?
Yeah.
I don't have your email address. I just have your name.
Uh,
And I
I'll-
clicked.
I'll
It didn't
send it in
change
again.
anything.
Steve, could you give Becky your phone number so that you guys could talk aside from, how to, about all this aside from the call?
Yeah, I'll send it.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
I'd like to close out the call now so we can turn off the recording.
All righty.
I have US, so it doesn't matter. I can phone you, but I need your phone number. And I won't bug you all the time. Don't worry.
Do you want to give Becky your phone number, Steve, or do you want to email it to her?
It'll be there just a minute, just a second. She'll have it.
Because I'd like to end the call
Oh,
and do this off the call.
all right, Becky. You want to check it now?
I can't. I'm checking it, but I'm not having any luck.
I didn't put a subject.
Oh, there it is. No subject provided. Okay, I got your number. Thank you very much.
All right, send me a message.
See you guys
Okay,
later.
good.
All right, it's been fun.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm glad you got my emphasis on this when I talked about saving money on the point thing. I noticed your reaction, and I know I'm talking about.
Yes, that's a valuable skill. Value your strengths and your skills and your talents.
And sometimes it's getting other people to understand. Like they think it's rocket science, but to me, it's like easy.
Well, they might not need to understand.
Right, if they just trust.
Right.
If they want to save money, they'll trust more people. But I'll get in touch with you.
Okay.
Let's have a good night.
You too, Steve. Thank you. Good
All
question
right.
tonight. Good points you brought up.